Hello, freaks, geeks, nerds, and basement dwellers. Welcome to Scruffy Gaming. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And we are gonna be talking about what I consider what tactical shooters gets wrong with the M240, or get wrong something I miss playing these games like Squad, Arma, and by the looks of it, Bellum in the future here. There's one detail about the M240 that none of them seem to have grasped and incorporated into the gameplay in a fun, immersive manner. And if you're wondering who the hell am I to talk about stuff like this, well, I have actually touched one of these things at a point in time, so I'm gonna base my arguments on this fact. So I hope you don't mind. And my big gripe with all of these games is the fact that in every game, every soldier holding the M240 is holding it out like an M4, like it's an AR or an AK-74 or whatever, right? This is Arma. Here you have Bellum. This guy does have a forward grip to make it easier to hold the gun like an M4, like an assault rifle. But still, you know what these games look like. And whenever you fire them, you're looking down the iron sights, arms stretched out just like it's an M4 or AK-74 or whatever, right? And this is really, really annoying to me. This is super unrealistic because this gun is heavy like you wouldn't believe. And you're not going to be running around like this or like this for a length of time. It's just not what you do with this gun. So seeing this in the games whenever you're logging on, it's just annoying. Actually, it is annoying. And using irons like this to firing at stuff way off in the distance, no, not really. But it's interesting though with Bellum, this new game that's coming out, this new tactical shooter. It still has, the arms held out before you carrying this heavy weapon like it doesn't weigh anything. They are going to add something that I haven't seen in any other game, and that is the loader, the guy responsible for feeding ammunition into the weapon while the gunner is manning it. Um, so this is going to be a really interesting addition in Bellum. Here you also have an M240 without that forward grip, so you're going to have soldiers, by the looks of it, in the game that's going to, do what they do in every other game, just holding it straight out in front of them like it's an M4. But it's going to be a nice touch to see how this loader works together with the gunner in the game. There's just one issue here though that I've picked up watching the Bellum videos, and that is there's something missing here right now on the side here of the weapon. But if we take a look at this quick sequence here, you can see this is cool. He's racking it so that he can open up and check for jams, and so nothing's in the way. He does all the motions, absolutely. And now he loads it. But this is the issue, because there really should be something right here, right next to the weapon, if you ask me, and something we see in other games featuring the M240. And if we jump over to my favorite game, Squad, we have the M240. Here you can see it in Squad. They hold the arms stretched out like it's an M4 firing through the iron sights. But what they do have in Squad is this thing that we have not seen in the Bellum videos. This pouch where you can stuff down roughly 2 belts of ammo, which means 100 rounds, right? And this is so the gunner always has ammunition at hand, so when the loader's doing his stuff, you rig this up and load the pouch so that the gunner can always open fire while the loader is doing his stuff and his things, right? And you're not seeing this pouch in the videos from Bellum for whatever reason, but Squad has it, which is a nice touch. So what Bellum should do in this setup is have a pouch right here hanging next to the weapon that the gunner can use as he's moving, and if a quick last engage a target or whatever. But when they're setting up like this and getting the loader ready to feed the weapon, what you do is you remove the belt. The pouch is still there, but you just hang the belt down to the side, and then you feed it with belts carried by the loader. So he can just keep feeding the gun as it's shooting. And when it's time to relocate, you remove the belts from the loader and load the belt from the pouch, and then the gunner can move, engage targets that pop up where you least expect it, and stuff like that. So I don't know why they don't have it in Bellum. It would have been a nice touch to have this added to the M240 in Bellum to get this realistic gun crew where the loader has a purpose and the gunner can, function realistically. Yeah, I mean, you can still load the weapon with the belts hanging down freely, absolutely, but you preferably you will be using a pouch. And in all the footage we've seen of Bellum and in all footage of Squad and Arma and all of these, you always see them using the iron sights. Now this, you don't use iron sights in this way with the M240. You fire maybe 10 or 15 rounds at most if you're going to use the irons, because then the flashes from the gun, the muzzle flash, it's going to just blur out everything and you're not going to see where you're hitting. So 10-15 rounds at most, and then you let go of the trigger and realign on the target. So if you're going to go longer bursts, which you always do in a game, right, you actually don't use the iron sights. You raise your eye level to up here, and then you aim by following tracer rounds and following impacts of the burst you're firing. So if you're firing a long burst of 20 rounds, you actually ignore the iron sights. Once you begin firing, raise your eyes, and then you look over the barrel and just go by tracers and impacts, which is something you never see in a game. You're always using the iron sights, again, like it's an M4 or whatever. So it would be nice to have these realistic additions to Arma, Squad, or Bellum, where you use the weapon a bit more realistically. You're not using it like an M4. And all of this, the reason I started thinking about making this video was because I watched the Bellum video of this shootout at a brick building on one of their maps, and you had a guy running around holding it. He has the forward grip, absolutely, and you can use the M240 in this way. No, you absolutely can, and you do shoulder it and fire from the shoulder, but you kind of do it when you're pushing around a corner, pushing into a room, maybe going into a trench line, and pressing forward in these brief moments where you rocket from the shoulder and go at the enemy. But there is one other way to use it that is never properly represented in the games, and this here, again, firing like it's an M4, you're missing out on what you can do with the M240 in a very realistic, cinematic, immersive way, and I will now explain what that is. And that is hip fire. Now, this is, of course, a lot of people in comment sections claim is not how you use the M240 at all, which I find weird. Because the M240 is, you can use it quite readily from the hip up close, or when you want to suppress enemies downrange, or clearing a room, a building, or whatever, a trench line, you can definitely use the M240 from the hip, going aiming by using tracers and using impacts. And I have never ever seen it properly represented in a game. Never ever. They always use the weapon like an M4 for whatever reason, and you never see a proper part of the game that represents firing this gun from the hip. And I mean, I think it's a damn shame because that is what this weapon is intended to do, to be perfectly honest. I mean, yes, you can lay down suppression at range with this thing when you're using the bipod. But I mean, if you have enemies up close at, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 meters, you can definitely just go at them from the hip when you need to fire quick and fast and just get rounds downrange. Or if you're entering a room, you need to clear out the corridor, you need to clear out the room, step in, sweep with the gun, and clear it out. And, yes, you can shoulder it. Absolutely. That's definitely the thing. You're pushing around the corner. You're getting some accurate rounds, 10 to fit those 10 to 15 rounds since you're aiming along the barrel at a target. And then you ease up, realign the crosshairs and the iron sights and do another 10 to 15 round burst. Sure. But if you want those longer, prolonged bursts of fire, we're talking 20 or 30 rounds maybe, then you do it from the hip. And this is something I haven't seen properly represented in any game at all, and I think it's a damn shame, to be perfectly honest. So I really hope that sometime in the near future we will have a game that represents hipfire in a credible way that works in game, where you can switch between shouldering it, firing from the hip, and going prone with the bipods, right? Because those are the three main ways of using this weapon, and you in the games you only do basically iron sights standing or iron sights when prone. So yeah, I'm a bit upset that we never have had a proper representation of hip fire with this weapon. And who knows, maybe Bellum will add it. I doubt it, but you never know. Hopefully maybe Squad will provide some good, credible way of incorporating hip fire into the game, because it's such a big part of how you use the M240 at targets that suddenly pop up at 20-30 meters, where you just need to put down lots of fire downrange to suppress the enemy. Or if you're stepping into that building, you just push in and make sure that anything that is on the far side of that door, that they die in a big burst. Anyway, that's it. Hope you found it interesting, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.